Hey, we're back here on the bonus round from the Dishonored Mansion up in Seattle at PAX. We've got an amazing panel with Cliff, Tim, and Mikey. And right now, this part, we're going to talk about some of the games from this generation that maybe didn't deliver for us. There have been, a lot of big franchises launched, a lot of promise, lots of excitement, and things don't always work out. Mikey, let me start with you. I mean, when you think back over the past
Don't take mine.
7 years,
I'm going to probably.
I know.
Yeah, exactly, because once someone picks one, it's hard to pick the next one.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, you get first dibs here.
Wow, yeah. What game didn't you like? That's a real safe answer.
Or didn't like, or
no,
were
it's
disappointed
it's-
in.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. I've been thinking about this kind of since we got here, and I'm pretty sure it's Assassin's Creed 1.
Really?
And it's not because I don't love that franchise. It's
Right.
I was so hyped on that game when I saw
Yeah.
it the first time, and it didn't quite deliver. And to their credit, Assassin's Creed 2 was just brilliant.
No, that's a great answer because I felt the same way. I felt
Oh, wait,
like,
I want that
two-
answer then.
Yeah,
That's right. I'm having trouble.
that's why I went first.
No, but,
man.
but it's interesting you say that because that's not a game that was terrible by any means. But the promise of
It
Assassin's
had
Creed 1
so
was
many
huge.
things that were bad. Like
Yeah.
there was, when you follow people around, and you're like, oh god.
It's good to
in
have
the
so many people
crowd and all
talking
that.
about
No,
it.
but I would agree.
It was
then
like a tech
two-
demo that proved itself in
Yeah,
Assassin's
but
Creed
then
2.
they made it to 2, and I thought 2 was great, and I still think Brotherhood was probably the best Assassins that they've done, and I thought that that
Yeah.
improved story wise and stuff.
That was like squad control assassins. That was great. Like the first time you do it, and like somebody jumps out of a
exactly. But a lot of the
room
squad stuff, you didn't have to necessarily
Yeah.
call in that many other assassins if you didn't want to. But yeah, I think that's a good point. It was a game that sort of disappointed initially compared to expectations, but then they built up. Phenomenal franchise. I think
Yeah.
3 is going to be amazing.
Which is why I also thought
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
thing was
Yeah.
I always thought that Altair was a cooler character than Ezio. Man, the Crusades like that. That's my
I'm looking
jam.
forward to New England. I grew up in Boston.
Like Kingdom of Heaven's one of my favorite movies. Like the director's cut, not the crappy other version, but like that whole the Crusades thing,
Yeah.
the swords and so good.
That's it. That's
So it's played
interesting
this perfectly.
response. It's not a game that was 3 out of 10. It was a solid game, but compared to what you were hoping it was going to be,
Yeah.
didn't quite deliver. All right, Tim.
This is hard. Okay, Cliff, you go. Because I just don't play bad games. Like
Right.
you seem to know, and you can tell.
Maybe there's a
at the
game you're excited
beginning.
about that you heard
first
from your
20
friends it
minutes.
wasn't that good. And then
Yeah. And you have such a small amount of time to play games. Like they're all the games I play usually.
Could have been a game you played for 20 minutes, or you thought you were going to play it for all weekend, and then you play it like this sucks.
No, you go. Cliff.
All right.
It's hard. It's really hard for me to think.
I actually have
Punches
2.
here. Oh wow.
So you could give one to Tim. You
hard.
can whisper one.
Yeah, I
you love him
know,
so much.
right?
I can.
No, don't.
Maybe I
don't.
should marry him. Oh, too late. My first one. Okay, I have to say this only for several reasons. I have to give you a disclaimer. I'm
Yeah.
friends with the developers.
Yes.
I love their games. We drink together. They're awesome. But in a lot of ways, Uncharted 3 let me down.
Right.
Now, before this causes N4G internet controversy, I wanna
Goodbye,
explain why.
everyone.
Awkward.
Uncharted 3 hit right at the point where I was getting really kind of disenchanted with the super scripted, feel like you're playing a QuickTime movie
Right.
type thing. And the idea is if you're going to make a YouTube video of a game, when the YouTube video is the exact same thing for everybody,
Right.
for me personally, as I'm evolving as a designer, I'm like, well, that's cool and all, but you still saw the plane sequence that was pretty much the same that I saw. And the amount of money that goes into making that one-off is amazing, but the production value is incredible. They do voice acting and writing and all of that nuance.
Well, that's why 2,
So
I think,
way better than we do, right?
2 is one of the best games, because
it was the first time to have that, right?
And then 3, right.
And then I realized the Uncharted game that I want to see, and I pitched this to Amy Henning at GDC, is I want to do the Uncharted thing where I'm my own Indiana Jones that I craft, male or female.
More open world.
Multiplayer, where we're all going around the world, and like you don't know if somebody got to the idol, throwing the
treasure
idol, throwing
first.
the whip, right? And like then you're setting traps for each other, and it can be a really amazing jet setting type of game.
Right.
And I hope somebody makes that game because I want to play it.
That's a good point, though, because you're saying, 2 you loved, right?
Yes, absolutely. It was like my game of the year.
Right, so that's the thing, is 2 was great, and then for 3 you were
For
hoping it
3,
was
I
going to evolve.
I kind of saw the man behind the curtain,
Right.
having worked on all that.
Well, you look at how, something like Assassin's, how that's evolving to 3.
Exactly, and
Right?
I want to see. I don't want to see the deathmatch. I want to see the multiplayer version around the world. The other one that disappointed me again, because a lot of the developers over there are friends of mine, so I feel weird saying it, was Rage. Because it was gorgeous. The campaign stuff was cool with the mission. It was great to see them get away from an uber linear kind of game. But the multiplayer, you're id, okay? You do freaking deathmatch. Do a Rocket Arena game,
Used
right?
to, man. Name the
Like
last
I don't
time,
want the car
dude.
combat thing, right? Like I want my deathmatch.
No, I
in
would
the
agree.
game.
I mean, that Rage was a game that the critics we were all about, and I think when they got bought by Bethesda, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is id meets Bethesda.
I wanted,
like RPG
I wanted a
action.
deathmatch in that world.
Right.
I wanted team deathmatch or three-wave CTF or
Right.
Rocket Arena. That's what I really wanted out of the multiplayer. For
No,
that.
and even the structure of it, it's like, sure, there were vehicles and stuff like that, but it wasn't, I don't think it was the open world necessarily that some people were imagining.
That's the thing is
well, it was Borderlands. I mean, in some ways, Borderlands spoiled it, I think.
without that sticky multiplayer, then the game your
fucked that
game
up.
becomes a campaign rental. Unfortunately, this generation, right?
Yep, no,
So
I
that's
agree.
the problem.
No, and I think, for that was a big game that could have really defined them on the consoles, much like you guys. This generation, I think, was a generation where Epic really proved
We
you
almost
guys
didn't.
could be.
We almost didn't ship multiplayer in Gears 1, and I was terrified of that because I knew we needed
I
some
remember,
sort of
I remember
a
talking to you
start.
about that actually when you guys were
Yeah.
at E3 the first time.
Yeah, and
I
the
remember
people were
hearing
making the
about
argument like, you don't need it. I'm like, longer term, because you run into gamer fans and they're like, yo, man, I like your campaign, but it's all about the multiplayer.
No, I
It's all
remember.
about
I remember the
multiplayer.
exact moment with Gears 1 where somebody from the press ran up, held on B, did the chainsaw thing,
Yep.
and argument over.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was
That
at
is
E3.
like that. That was.
No, and this was a
amazing.
generation for you guys. I mean, Epic wasn't a big console developer
No, we
before
weren't.
Xbox 360, and now,
It
you
actually
guys
converted
know
me to multiplayer games because I'm really like a single player game. Like I like to be alone. I don't like people.
So that must be,
But then-
must
and
be a
then-
big multiplayer game that you hated this generation.
So we're not going off.
No,
the
I'm
drinks
just
after
saying
this.
like.
Yeah, Tim still hasn't answered.
I-
this.
Yeah, have we moved on to why we
You
like
got-
Gears? Isn't that a lot more comfortable for everybody?
Oh, we're out of time.
I want to know.
You know, I
Come on,
chainsawed this guy. I
Like the nicest guy in the industry has to
Exactly.
call it a game.
I can't think of it.
Okay, hold that. We'll be right back here on the bonus round.